Hi, everybody. Very happy to be here. Welcome to our third town hall. Next slide, please. So this is like the too long didn't watch. Okay, so people who don't have patience for the entire presentation. Just know that submissions for proposals have ended. Those of you who didn't manage to prepare on time, don't worry. In about a month, we'll start the submission proposals for Fund 3. Now we're launching the refinement stage, and the focus is on helping the proposers, for us, the community, to help the proposers improve on the impact, feasibility, and auditability of their proposal. You use it by commenting on the proposal in ID scale. Thirdly, a big announcement, we launched the UN Challenge, the Wyoming Hackathon. It is now available in ID scale, and you need to start to register. You can click on the link to participate. I hope Anna is sharing the links as I go through the slides. Next slide, please. So, as usual, welcome to the experiment. Things can break, documentation may lack. Things can change between iterations, and generally, participating in the catalyst process sometimes can be disorienting, overloading, but also very, very inspiring. Our goal will provide you a safe environment to explore the highest potential of human collaboration. Next slide. But, the safety of the environment is at risk, and it's for us to ring the bell and remind you that the power is in your hands. It always is in your hands. You just haven't been aware of it yet. Fund 2 is a special group. It's a special opportunity. It's a special leverage where we define the norms of how we're moving forward. We're going to control a lot more funds. There are going to be much more people. There's going to be more attention. But in this early stage, your behavior, your vote, your comments, your feedback, it's going to influence and have a cascading effect on everything else that's come. So use this power wisely. Use your attention wisely. Let's learn as much as we can and do the best we can. Next slide, please. So I wanted to share the Fund 2 voting results. I think that, unfortunately, because I can't share my screen. Okay, great, thanks. Thanks, Anna. So Fund 1 is concluded, and the results have been cast on the blockchain and tallied, and you can see here the outcome. We had about a 50% participation rate, a bit more than 50% participation rate. We started with around 50 participants, and around 30 registered and 26 casted their votes. I invite every one of you, and I hope, Anna, that you can share this link in the chat. Look at the results and learn from them. And I also want to invite now for like a minute or two each, like if any Fund 1 group member wants to talk about what he learned from these results, from the way this mechanism is working. And before we move to ask the people, Anna, I want you to, can you slide down on the second part? So I think here you can see, so this was a simulation, and you can learn a lot how the rewarding mechanism works by looking at it. So as you can see, we started with an initial budget at the $250,000 worth of ADA. And then we had the open source experiential learning that earned that ADA, that was deducted from the fund. And we had like two more. Then you can see proposal number 4 in the queue in terms of like the sum of upvotes and downvotes was not funded because they asked more than was available. So we skipped, went to the next one. And then you get another skip and another skip all the way downwards until we basically ran out of funds. But we can learn a lot from this dynamic. Is there anybody from Fund 1 that wants to talk a bit about, like, when you look at these, the outcomes of the simulation, what can we learn going forward? I think you can do that by raising your hands, and then Anna can give you the stage. Yeah, just share your thoughts. Obviously, it's an opinion, but I'm happy to hear it. I think we're all interested.
So I think a major takeaway is, you know, if you keep your funding request lower, you have a much better chance of, you know, getting funding for if you're further down the line on, you know, having the most upvotes. But I just wanted to throw a reason I raised my hand also is I wanted to encourage everyone. So when we go through this refinement process, everyone has an opportunity to update their proposal before it goes to the voting app. And so it's not you know, a requirement or anything from Project Catalyst, but as a community, we could go into this next fund saying that, hey, everyone, let's make the maximum we ask for, say 250,000 ADA, and that would guarantee that at least 10 ideas would get kicked off no matter, you know, where you were on the voting and stuff. So I just encourage people to think that when we go through the refinement, if you can ask for lower amounts and then come back to the fund later when there's a lot more money available, it will just help launch so many more things than, you know, maybe a couple ideas taking most of the pot. That's all.
Cool. Thanks, Boone. That's good insights. Good perspective. Rob, you also wanted to share your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I've never put a proposal in for anything before, so I just think given the opportunity to my original proposal was really basic, and then the feedback from the community helped me to push that into a much better proposal. But also, you know, I would encourage to go and look at other people's proposals, even if they're a competitor to yours. You know, we're all in this together, so you know, you can pick up tips off each other. You can chat with each other, and I just think it's a great learning experience. But remember that the fund really is it's to help people in the initial stages. So you're not looking to fund, you know, they're not your project for the next 3 or 4 years. It's just really to get you going for the next 6 months to establish that business. And if you do get negative feedback from the community, as long as people are making that constructive, that's useful. But just don't go in and put people down just because they might be a competitor to yours. And I think that the Fund 1, I think we've made some really good friends with each other, but I think we've made friends because we've been fair with each other. Not all the projects got funded, not all of them got voted, but it was definitely a really great learning curve. And remember, if your proposal doesn't go through or get funded for this fund, there's always round 2 or round 3 or round 4. You know, it might take 5 or 6 times to get funded, but each time you're learning. And if you were going for funding with you know, VCs, you'd probably get rejected up to 100, 150 times anyway. So just really treat this as a learning curve, and just look at initial funding just to kickstart. That's all I would say.
Okay, thanks, Rob. That's awesome. Dwayne, we have like very short time, so just a few short sentences so we can move forward.
Yeah, sure. Hey, thanks, Dor. I appreciate it. I just wanted to say, you know, my experience very similar to others in Fund 1. I thought it was a very collaborative environment. I thought that, you know, we had a ethos of continuous improvement, which to me, you know, took so much out of the whole process. as a group, we were really focused on making ideas scale better, brainstorming different ways and options we could, work with the platform to kind of improve the experience of everyone. And I thought that was huge. I want to say something about budgets, though, because I do think as a project requesting a larger amount, it's important to realize that if you have, a very qualified and proven development team and a sound budget and timeline to implementation, I think it's fair to request the needed amount. There's the opposite argument to Boons that's like, hey, if you request not enough and you're actually underfunded, then you can't really deliver on, the great solution and platform, that meets the Fund 2 challenge or the Fund 1 challenge in this case. So that's all I have to say, but thank you all. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's go back to the slides, please. So we are growing. We're growing very fast. We had 127 proposals, more than 1,000 comments, 2,550 members. We have 600 members in the announcement channel. We have 225 in the Catalyst chat and 204 members in Discord. Basically, we're blowing up. Like we've grown by 25% this week. That is huge, and it's still happening every day. More and more, hundreds of people are joining. Next slide, please. On the note of communication channels, we saw a lot of people talking about being a bit overwhelmed with the wealth of communication. If you're one of those, just pick one channel. Just go for the announcement channel on Telegram. There we're just sharing an announcement once or twice a week, just the most essential things, just to keep you updated. So this is like a great kind of a notification center for you, and it keeps like signal to noise ratio very low. More pro users and probably proposers, the Catalyst chat is your kind of like support with the community and a place to raise questions and have discussions. And the Discord is like, even more professional environment. This is where there's like specific channels for proposals to have structured discussions. And this is a place where people can look and find developers, like have more conversations. So also recommended for the more pro involved user. Next slide. So last week we sent you a feedback form. We ask you about your expectations, and this is a summary of the results. So overall, 17 people were, we had a very happy kind of expectations met. 12 responders had a neutral reaction, kind of a mixed, and 4 were negative. I think it's important to notice that people talk about how entertaining it is and informative, and some kind of a realization of how important what we're actually doing is actually. Another repeating theme is asking for more focus on consolidating and curating ideas, wanting to get the Japanese community involved, and we're working on solutions for that, and hoping for more information about voting, saying it's overwhelming, and and some were just like plain like it's like the UX is really bad and the ideas are dumb, which is a legitimate perspective. Next slide, please. Another question we asked, what was your favorite thing for the first week? So again, like a lot of people really like the community energy, like the diversity and quantity of ideas. People like the process, people like the town hall. They like the fact that proposals get feedback, that the fact that kudos are limited, and seeing the platform coming to life and getting an insight about what others find important in the community. Next slide. So this is the important one, what to improve, because this is what we the Catalyst team take and work with to be better and to be more and more aligned with the community. Overwhelmingly, people wanted more communication about the process. Actually, you know what? Next slide. I think I'll show you both the thing that was expressed and what we're doing about it. So, request for more communication about the process. So we added the guideline in the submission form about the exploration phase and about the submission phase. We're now working on adding a short video on the landing page to kind of give people kind of a quick recap what's going on. We really upgraded our announcements that we make in Telegram. And we decided to focus the town hall, really make clear what's the next steps, just to have clear, fast communication. And if you go now to go to IDScale, you will see on the right-hand side, there's like a bunch of widgets that help you navigate the website more efficiently. The second thing was people wanted more kind of like idea analytics, like more abilities to sort and themes and challenge relevance. So you can see now there's like a lot of more sorting options for you. And there's like a challenge widget. And honestly, I think with the relevance of the challenge is going to happen in the assessment stage. It's going to be very clear. People mentioned irrelevant proposals. So we added a guideline with proposals. Some complaints about the UX confusing. So it's still getting worked on. I think even tomorrow in the next few days, we're going to see a lot of improvements in the UX. Regarding the FAQ, we added a new weekly process where we have a team member going and updating it every week. So doubling down on that. Regarding Japanese translation, the most feasible thing right now to do is have bilingual volunteers that can come and help us. So if anybody wants to do that and is a bilingual English Japanese and wants to help us, be in touch with Anna, and we will guide you how to help to make the proposals in English more accessible for the Japanese audience. Define and discuss evaluation, the criteria. So we're trying our best. And regarding collaboration, so there's like a lot of collaboration tools. A lot of them also like are emergent and bottom down. We added all of them into the FAQ. Next slide, please. We want to honor and thank those who received a lot of kudos. So kudos is a signal for leadership. It's a signal for behavior that adds value to the system long term. So I want to highlight these people on the left as people who made a lot of efforts and received a lot of kudos, whether because they gave constructive, useful comments, or because their proposals inspired and excited people. And so thank you. Next slide. So what do we know about our community? So this week, 280 entrepreneurs joined, 180 devs joined, 111 stake pool operators, 60 marketers, 50 teachers, 23 community managers. We're still learning. You're still not completely aware about how much power you have. If only you coordinate well, if only you work together well. This is what we have here, the amount of expertise and manpower, the sky is the limit. Only if we learn how to work together, and I think we can, and I think we're learning. Next slide. Speaking about learning and collaborating, we added this from a community proposal, like a bottom-up proposal from the community, from a team. We started to add the special community tags that start with seek. I was planning to give you kind of a demo of it in IDScale, but I can't share my screen. All I can tell you is, if you go to IDScale and to the challenge page, to the Fun2 challenge page, and you can sort on the top, there's like a list of tags. Press tags, and you can see all these lists. And then if you click on it, you will see all these specific proposals. For example, you're a blockchain dev and you want to team up, you want to help Cardano. Click on the Seek Blockchain Dev tab, you'll see 24 proposers that need you. So you can go through these, sort through these ideas and see which one resonates with you. And you can you can click on the proposer's profile and you can send him a private message. That goes same for, you see there's 19 proposals looking for marketers, there's 11 seeking community managers, et cetera. So a lot of collaboration potential in this functionality, so take advantage of it. Please feel free to add to the chat if you think there's a proposal, if you feel there's other seek tags that were missing for you, add it to the chat and we'll add them to our tags. So what did we learn? We see a strong rise up of the bottom-up collaboration tools and processes, the Discord channel, this tagging system, all happening by the community, and it's really amazing. Seems like the challenge metric still need a bit more emphasis, like how many developers will this proposal add in over 6 months? How many entrepreneurs gonna attract? How many dApps and businesses are gonna be built thanks to your contribution? We still need to give emphasis for proposers about the importance of that and educate. Then we have to establish norms for constructive feedback. The goal of this project is to give people a safe environment where, this is a special space. Okay, this is a place of creativity, a place for energy, a place for generation. It's very hard to do that when people attack you and you need to be defensive, and when there's negativity and cynicism, and so I call for this community to use our abilities, and I'm going to talk about it in this presentation a bit more, how to make constructive feedback, so we can actually get better outcomes rather than chasing our most valuable entrepreneurs and skilled people away from the community. Lastly, we need a bit more emphasis on voting and decision-making. People need a bit more clarity about that, to feel comfortable. And next week, we're gonna talk a lot about it and give you a lot of clarity about it, and more emphasis on the decision-making. So, right now we're still stuck in this paradigm of the individual, what do I prefer? What do I think? But we need to start to coordinate. We need to think about what's our strategy. How are all these proposals that we vote combined together to form even bigger impact? And for this, we need to level up the way we discuss, and not just have not just think about it as an individual making decisions, but as a group making decisions together, and how to do that. Lastly, on the bottom, we see a link to a feedback form that so you can also share your feedback about the second week, so we can learn and continue to evolve. Please use this ability, leverage this opportunity in Fund 2 to influence. Next slide, please. And yeah, this is our symbol for the community corner. Next slide. I think I want to invite James to talk about a new initiative.
Hey, everybody, and thanks, Dor. So this idea came from Steve Aldrich, who was posting some videos of some clips from Charles's last AMA last week on Telegram. And Steve, thanks for those conversation prompts. They were all really good, but we all recognized that we didn't have time to talk about those things. So similar to this idea of a prompt-based salon is a book club. So we'd like to start one of those. What I'll say as a Fund 1 participant is that things calmed down a lot in Fund 1 after those first 2 weeks. It was nice to get through that initial scramble, to get ideas up, and then to spend 4 weeks really refining and building relationships. So the reason we're doing this is A, to give us more of a chance to build those relationships. I know that it's hard to develop trust when you don't have time to slow down. We're all moving so fast right now that it's hard to see kind of the forest for the trees. So I'd like to invite anybody who wants to have this sort of high-level conversation about why we're doing what we're doing in the first place. Find the Catalyst Book Club channel on the Discord server. There's a link here, and I believe Anna just put one in the chat here. And I think that channel is near the top of the list, so you should find it. I made 3 suggestions right here. This book, Immunity to Change, gives us language for talking about how to balance technical with adaptive challenges. I think it would go a long way for this community. The other book is a collection of essays in response to Piketty's work on capital. And the last one is one we heard Charles mention recently. I think it was in one of these Catalyst meetings that was kind of formative for his experience. I think any of these could start great conversations, but if you have other ones to suggest, come on over to that Catalyst and let's find a time to meet. Dora, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, James, for this amazing initiative. I want to join. If I have time, I would join. I'll probably join.
Yeah, we'd love to have you there, man. Thank you.
Next slide, please. So I think this is, okay, let's talk about this, this new collaboration with the United Nations. So this is an amazing opportunity for us. In the first town hall, you know, I showed you this graph, you know, of like how, if you look at the deep blue line, funds under control, you know, somewhere around fund 5, there's like a change in trend, and suddenly like, whoop, we're going up. Why is that? You know, because basically throughout the funds, you know, there's like a steady uptick in the amount of funds under control. But at this point, our hypothesis was that we're going to get more adopters, so external organizations that want to adopt this like decentralized innovation fund. And suddenly, you know, we will see that it's not just the Treasury that holds funds under control. It's actually the Treasury plus a bunch of other organizations around the world. So we're lucky to actually find that already in Fund 2, we have a first opportunity to do that with the UN, with this 10K prize. And I believe that if this community participates and drives good results, this is just the beginning. So it means that like over time, you know, we will continue to work with the UN and other nonprofits around the world and other corporations around the world, and more funds are going to be under the control of the Catalyst project. So pay attention to this, is important. I'm moving it to Shruti to talk a bit more about it.
Thanks, Dor. Hi, folks. I'm Shruti Appiah, Product Manager for Marlowe here at IOHK. Today, I want to introduce you to our Blockchain for Social Good Challenge, which we're doing in partnership with the United Nations. Just before I start, let's see if we have the slides available for this one as well. Okay, that's great. That's the one, Dor. So today I want to introduce you to our Blockchain for Social Good Challenge, which we're doing in partnership with the United Nations here at IOHK. Next slide, please. Thank you. Financial systems today form the foundation of representing, transferring, as well as storing value in global systems today. So in light of this, the Marlowe team is inspired to explore the myriad of ways in which blockchain technology can uniquely help serve some of these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And we're probably all familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals. So they're all over here. It includes everything from no poverty all the way to climate action. And so we want to host this project and such that it will be open source and it can be developed using the Marlowe Playground. So let's talk a little bit more about what is Marlowe and Marlowe Playground. Next slide, please. So Marlowe is a domain-specific and special purpose language. There are two things you can do with it. So you can express financial smart contracts with Marlowe, and ultimately with that, you can also build out bigger financial smart contract suites, thereby allowing you to bring and build financial instruments on the Cardano blockchain. Next slide, please. So what's the Marlowe Playground? So this is where it gets interesting. Marlowe Playground is a tool that provides a means for developers to not only write smart contracts, but also perform iterative design using our simulations and ability to formally verify and ability to test smart contracts as well. So these capabilities paired with this domain-specific purpose-built Marlowe language allow for an end-to-end smart contract development experience for developers, and such that the contracts are easy to build, they're straightforward, and we are also able to build secure and verifiable and rigorously tested contracts. So with that in mind, let's explore some of the ways in which blockchain can be applied for environmental and social good. The first one I want to explore is microfinance and microloans. So microloans are practiced in geographically localized communities and neighborhoods today. So you might have heard about the Grameen Bank, and that is one such organization which offers local community groups and microfinance organizations that will offer things such as microloans and microcredit. And these initiatives so far, they are in meat space, and they have shown the ability to reduce the presence of predatory lending practices, as well as high interest loans, which are usually the options only available to people that are not so well off in low income groups. And so in order for them to obtain credit, they will only have to be taking these routes, and that's usually not desirable. So with DeFi and decentralized finance, we have a higher degree of financial inclusion, which is particularly important to individuals who don't have access to reliable financial services. And they also don't have access to proof of identity. And so what we want to explore is, can microfinancing be expanded and extended beyond these geographic boundaries and made decentralized to serve communities in developing nations and give them access to credit? Cool. And with that, let's explore continuous funding as well. So today's social enterprises typically face a conundrum while obtaining funding, and that's because financial institutions are typically risk averse and they don't want to invest in projects before they are able to see their returns. And as a result of that, social impact projects have a high upfront cost and they're not able to obtain funding. And so in order to solve this problem, certain solutions have already emerged, and those solutions involve outcome-based funding as well as result-based financing mechanisms. And one of such mechanism is an alpha bond mechanism. You can see more in this link here as well. But what we want to do is for these kinds of projects to be able to be financed based on milestones, which we can get by collecting data from the project. And since they are able to be expressed in an algorithmic manner, then we can express all of these projects and their mechanisms involved within it on blockchain contracts as well, and have an automated process to do that. Next slide, please. And then there's also accounting for risk. So typically social impact projects also operate in very high uncertainty and risk-heavy environments. And so it's often very difficult to predict the risk at the project start. And that also deters investors from investing in projects which have to do with social impact and social enterprises. So in order to solve such kinds of problems, we can have a dynamic system that can adjust its parameters according to this varying risk levels. And so one of these mechanisms that has come out of this is the adaptive impact financing mechanism, such as the alpha bond. So this can be very easily implemented on the blockchain. And you can see in this link as well, it's implemented on another blockchain. So these kinds of solutions can really make a sense for them to be implemented on blockchains because of the ability to do auditing, as well as the ability to have a trustless environment where parties have already agreed upon certain things and they are clear on their obligations. But there are other ideas as well, I'm sure, that sort of satisfy certain criteria that will serve towards this United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So this is very open-ended, guys. Like these are basically just certain ideas that I had in mind that I gave it to you. But let's keep it open-ended, and we can come up with your own ideas on how to solve or serve some of these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and send us your proposals. Next slide, please. And so ultimately, these are some of the areas where we're closely looking for. The 3 top ones I went over already, but we also have criteria as can there be solutions that will incentivize crowd-funded donations or multi-stakeholder allocations of resources. And there are some recommendations that the UN has already put together in the Digital Finance Task Report. And you can have a look at that one as well, and that might give you some ideas. And so the prices for this, like Joe mentioned, is 10K, up to 10K for all the winning proposals in the Cardano blockchain's native currency, which is ADA. And we have also another support proposal, which is that the selected proposals will also receive continued support after the award by UN as well as IHK to help your projects really come to fruition. So here are the links for signing up. We also have a Discord going on. If you have any more questions, feel free to hit us up on Discord later or even today. And for submission, you can do it on IdeaScale, which is where we host most of the Catalyst projects as well. But if you would like to also sign up to the Dev Post, which is the main hackathon, that's where it's happening place. And so sign up on all of these 3 areas. I think that will help you secure your spot with your team. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot to us. Cheers, guys, and best of luck.
Wow, thanks, Shirley. I mean, what an opportunity, help people that really need help, work on the most cutting edge, interesting technology Cardano has. And also, if you win, this is like a really strong, there's going to be a panel of 6 IOHK members and 6 UN judges that are going to assess the proposals. And this is sending a really strong signal for the other Fund 2 participants about your proposing team and your proposal. So it's like a really cool side quest, I feel. All right, so moving on, I want to welcome the proposers, our heroes. We finalized, so we have 127 proposals. I think it's like at least 110 different entrepreneurs are now in the cycle, in Fund 2. And I know that some of you received all sorts of comments and all sorts of feedback. I just want to say thank you on behalf of Catalyst and for being brave, for taking risk, for putting your proposal out there and willing to receive criticism, for giving your time, although you don't have any assurance that you're going to be funded or not. You are the people that are driving the value of Cardano forward. And again, as being part of Fund 2, you're going to have, it's not just like this amount of funding, it's a really strong signal, and it's going to influence all the funds going forward. So, you're the best, don't get distracted. Just do your thing. Next slide. And part of it is we're announcing that we're launching the Fund 2 Cohort. So if you remember when I talked about the innovation phase, the governance phase, the execution phase, we didn't talk a lot about the execution phase. It sounds a bit boring, like you send reports every 2 weeks. It's like the opposite of boring. It's like the most exciting thing that's going to happen, because this cohort, all the funded proposals, are going to be part of an exclusive group that we're going to nurture. We're going to have weekly meetings with the funded proposers. We're going to give you expert support. So from product managers to project managers to marketers, from technology experts are going to come as like a different expert every week and give you advice and guidance of how to best execute your funded proposal. And we'll launch a series of peer mentoring. So when you help each other and assist, and I think this is the start of a really powerful network and a powerful opportunity. Of course, this is like a first iteration on it, so it's gonna be a bit, still a bit rough, but I think it's gonna be amazing. So this is just like one other benefit of being a funded proposal. Next slide. So we're now in the refinement stage. The refinement stage is so important. We actually decided to extend it by 1 week. So it's going to have 2 weeks of refinement, and not one. And just to give you an overview, okay, so last week we submitted. This week we're starting the refinement of the proposals. After that, the proposals are going to have we're going to have a little break. We're going to take a week of relatively less activity, less input, and give the proposals a chance to actually process all the feedback they're going to receive and prepare their proposals for the review process, where we will have a bunch of volunteers from the community that are going to serve as community advisors that are going to review the proposals and give them a score. And then the next step is going on the ballot and start voting. Okay, but just see where we are at in the process. We just started. Next slide. So the whole point of this, basically like this next 3 weeks, is for you as a proposer to evolve your proposal. If your proposals kind of like stay the same since you submitted it and until you went to the ballot, like you did not take advantage of what's going on, what's happening right now here. You did not go to you didn't fulfill the full potential of how amazing your proposal can be. All the fields are editable. Like I think now there's like a bit of a bug, a small bug where you can't edit, but we're gonna fix it today. The whole point is that you edit and modify a proposal, including changing the title of the proposal, changing the theme for the proposal. There's no limits. That's actually the point. We're here to learn and evolve and merge proposals together and get to this impact, get to solve the challenge in the best way possible. So listen to the community. Next slide. So for everybody else, for all the non-proposers or proposers who feel really enthusiastic about also helping others, what can you do to refine the proposals in the next 2 weeks? So, well, you can join a team as an implementer. As we saw in the tags, you can see what people need and join forces. You can nurture, you can look at high quality proposals and put your energy and attention to them. And if you see a proposal that's not serious, you don't think that the proposal is serious, or you don't believe in this proposal, it doesn't excite you, ignore it. Use your time well. And as you choose to use your time well and you focus on those proposals that really engage you and you want to improve, give them constructive, actionable feedback. And we're going to talk about that. And also, so it says upvote good feedback, but actually it's like give kudos to people who provide good feedback because they are the leaders. That's like the strong signal that we're putting out for the community, that the kind of behavior we're looking for in order to grow, in order to get to the best outcomes, is people who offer constructive feedback and create a really fun and high energy, inspiring work environment. So use your kudos for that, to encourage that. And if you see unconstructive feedback, well, I say downvote, but it's like ignore. You don't have to engage people who are negative. Use your time and energy well. Use your time and energy to make the best proposal you can, not to defend or to campaign. And next slide. there's going to be a lot of time to campaign in the governance phase. Now it's time to improve. So what needs, so as people are making their comments, we wanted to give you a bit of advice, how to do it the best way possible. So think about it like this. When all these proposals are going to get assessed, there's going to be these three criteria: impact, feasibility, and auditability. And most of the score is going to be about impact. So like if this proposal effectively addresses the challenge. And at some point there will be the assessment stage, and the reviewers and the community advisors will look at this and give assessments. But until then, we have this we have these 3 weeks to get ready for this assessment. So it's kind of like a preview. So all the commenters, you are assessors in a way. You can already start. You can already, in your comments, you can say, hey, I'll give you 3 stars for this, out of 5 for your impact, because X, Y, Z. Okay, I agree or I disagree with the impact or the feasibility or auditability for these reasons, and here are things you can do about it. Next slide. So a good way to think about it is ask yourself, if I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, let's say, not sure about how much, is there enough content in this proposal to be like, let's say, auditable, and I just give it 2 stars, what is needed for it to become 5 stars? It can be a list of things, and you can provide a list of things. And that would help people actually improve and level up their proposal. Next slide. So just a few rules of thumb about giving feedback. So one is observe and report. So you need to address and all this, it's like very text heavy slide, but all of it is going to be published in the guideline. We will publish probably today or tomorrow, so you can look at it. But the important thing is like address the actual proposal. Don't address imaginary proposal in your head you wish to be. Focus your comments about the challenge and the outcome, not, don't get distracted. And try to help help people like optimize the proposal and give them concrete advice how to improve through implementation, and not just like this sucks, do something completely different. If you feel that, then ignore it. Put your energy somewhere else where you can contribute. Next slide. And then the feedback must be actionable. So for example, if someone talks about the course that helps SQL engineers, and you want to level up the auditability, so break it down into things that people can actually process and work on. Don't overwhelm people. Ask, can you give me additional information of how long the course will be, what it will cost, who will be teaching? Be specific, be actionable. Next. And also define the win for them. Define okay, if you follow this feedback, here's the benefit. Here's what's going to happen to your proposal. And again, aligning it to the metrics would be great. So the best wins are measurable, they're actionable, and they're tangible. And they're tangible. So, for example, if someone makes a proposal about a monthly newsletter, and you want to optimize it, you can say, well, if you follow this feedback, you will let's say double the amount of SPOs you reach. Okay, so you can quantify it. That would help proposers. Okay, and lastly, try to keep it simple. I would even recommend instead of having a giant comment, a wall of comments, you can put 10 comments, and each comment can be a different issue, and that can help the proposer process and deal with it. So if you want people to listen to you and enhance, Your feedback needs to be in a form and shape that can help, that helps them actually process it. Next slide. And lastly, remember, like, negativity undermines our long-term goal. We're not going to succeed if we're chasing entrepreneurs and creative people out. There's like lots of other places in the world where they would be accepted in open hands. You know, people are looking, like, there's like a lot of demand out there for entrepreneurs, for developers, for people that have blockchain knowledge. If you treat people in a negative way, they will just go elsewhere, and it will end up being like a small boys club of people that are grumbling and being negative and feeding off each other's negativity. So you have a chance to change that. We already, I mean, and I'm telling you honestly, like, we've seen this week for the first time, we got like maybe 5 people or left ID scale. And we need to check why, but I think I know why. Let's think about the long term. Let's think about how we're creating an environment that nurtures creativity, that inspires people, that the best people in the world want to be proposers here. And it's not going to happen if when they come, they get so much negativity and unconstructive feedback. So I hope you will consider this advice. So to conclude, let's talk about time well spent. As we know, this is a serious time sink. Like right now, we had a call with the Fund 1 participants, and they share, like, one of the things they shared, like, you know, despite, like, you know, besides like gratitude and all the things they learned, is that it's like a huge time sink, this project. And the key is spending your time well. You know, we all have limited time, limited resources, but each one with his affordances can use his time well. So what's productive and what's distractive? Notice where there's distractions. Productive, help the proposals you like and care about be better and advocate for them. Distractive is try to shoot down everything else, make unconstructive feedback and negativity. What's productive? Work with commenters, like as a proposer, okay? Like work together with the commenters to improve. Someone says something and you don't clearly understand him, ask him, what do you mean? Work together with them. Distractive, you know, you think about it like you're already campaigning. You're gonna have a lot of time to campaign. Now is the time to listen and to develop relationships and to evolve. This is not the time to campaign. So don't argue, don't be defensive. If someone is sinking your energy with negativity, ignore him. You don't have to engage with him. Don't feed the trolls. Lastly, you can join teams. You can join as an implementer. Proposals, like groups can see that they're working together. Can you, Anna, can go back one more slide? You know, you can merge proposals together, and we will help you do that if needed. And also, you know, if you give up, if at some point you're like, okay, I'm actually don't want to continue and evolve my proposal, I want to whatever, for any reason, remove your proposal so you don't distract the community with something that's not going on the ballot. You can remove, right now, the easiest way to kind of remove the proposal is you go to the title and you edit the title instead of the title write withdrawn, okay? And so people will know not to waste energy on this proposal because it's not advancing. And this is not a defeat or a loss. This is like being smart and making good use of time and the energy of this community. So if someone withdraws, like I bow to him, I appreciate you for doing that. What distractive? Creating joke proposals. You know, this is like, we're trying to do something here. You know, we're trying to do something great and hard. And so a bit of joking is okay, but just be serious. Let's put our energy on serious things that lead to serious impact, not jokes. And lastly, you're welcome. We need coherence. We need sense making in this community. inviting people to write thoughtful and structured blog posts about where you want things to go. On the other hand, you can also use your time to argue over chats, and then like very few people actually hear your thoughts. It's fleeting thoughts, you know, like make something more substantial and you can have a much larger impact. Use your time better. So remember, don't feed the trolls. It doesn't get us anywhere. It just takes us away from where we want to be. Final slide, I think, is the next one. Okay, so you know what to do next. So go and refine, give comments, help the proposers. There's going to be a guide. We're going to link to it soon. Secondly, define the culture. Use kudos to support good comments. Ignore everything else. Ignore things that are not taking us in the right direction. Why waste your energy? And lastly, there's the UN challenge. Amazing opportunity. You know, this is going to take us, it can be, if it works, it can take us to a completely different place. Out of let's say, just Cardano and real world adoption by giant influential nonprofits and organizations around the world, reinventing a new type of paradigm of how actually we bring value to the world. So take advantage. And I think that's it for me. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next week. We can hang out. I mean, I would love, maybe as we end, I'd love to hear, because we have all these proposers, and I'd love if people can come up and raise their hands and just share something about, you know, what you expect of proposers, or what inspires you from proposers, or any sort of feedback you want to give them, but try to be positive. Like everybody can say it's peace, but I feel now it's time for momentum and support, not negativity. But up to you. So, floor is yours.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Hey, it's Steven. I am a proposer, startup as a stake pool, and my comment, I apologize in advance if it was addressed. I cut in and out for the town hall, but I was curious, you know, within Idea Scale, there's kudos, there's comments, and then obviously there's some discussion happening on Discord outside of that. But is there any, you know, for my proposal, you know, I've gotten a lot of feedback, some positive, some constructive, some not so, but I'm at a point, like a fork in the road, where, you know, I need to pare down and remove a lot of fluff to some sort of basic MVP, but I have two options, you know, one to go one direction and another to go somewhere else. And I was curious if there's any sort of like poll functionality within Idea Scale, or something that's not just posting a comment and hoping other people see it as they're going through things. Is there anything like that right now?
So there, not that I'm aware of, but I'm sure that if you talk to Steven and the activity on the Discord channel, I think they have some kind of like polling activity, and like you can set up a specific channel for your proposal, and there you can, I think you can launch polls over there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I live? Are you listening to me?
I am.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. Hi, Dor. Thank you for having me here. So it's about two questions, or maybe two little bit comment. To avoid some trolling and stuff, I think it's important for the people to understand who have very financial interest, and people who are just want to have the fund as a Kickstarter and plan to refund it later. I think it's important for people to understand that we can use those funds not only to pay what we need, but just to have this Kickstarter. And then in the business plan, in the business model, we can include a way that smart contract will refund the Catalyst project. And then this money can be used for others project. It's just, I don't need the money, but I just need the money to start. But then my business plan is there also to refund the catalyst. Whatever you want it or not, I will refund you, right? So maybe it's because I hear people saying, oh, you are here for the money. Okay, they need to invest in a new microphone, new camera, that's fine, okay? But will it really help the community in the large extent? If we can find business model, even for YouTubers, who can find a way to give back a little bit of what they get, so the fund can never die, and that's very important. And another thing that you said, that we can rename our proposal if there's like a pause or a snooze. I snoozed my title actually, but then I made a mistake. I left the group, and then now I have no access to nothing. So I'm locked out of my project, and I have a lot of kudos. I am very active. So I wanted to remove it, but I removed it too much. So now if I can get access with someone who can just help me to retrieve my admin section, it will be just lovely. That's all I wanted to say for today.
Okay, so create a new, I don't know what happened with iDiscover, but create an account, a new account if you can't log in, and DM Anna and me, maybe DM me on a Discale, and I'll see what I can do to help.
Okay, but it will be from a different account, right? Because it's okay, but I will give you the information about it. But this is more like private, so it doesn't interest the whole community, so we don't have to spend much time on it. I will DM you.
Sure. And
thank you so much.
And I think just commenting about what you mentioned before, I mean, I think ultimately we just need to think that about this, like, money well spent. Like, in the end, even if money from the treasury goes and we don't get anything back, we are getting a lot of back. We're getting more entrepreneurs and more developers and more dApps.
Yes.
And launching our system. So cool. It makes it, I think it does make it more attractive in a way if there is a plan behind it, but it's not
yeah, you don't have, it's not mandatory, you don't have to, but if you have the possibility to do it, it should be a way to just have a section saying, okay, those projects we found, those projects, and then this is fine. I mean, I'm not here to say, okay, refund the money, guys, and my project is better. It's not about that. I understand that this money is used in a great value for a lot of things, and I've absolutely no doubt of that. I'm not criticizing that at all. I'm perfectly fine with this. But if I had this idea to say, yeah, okay, I got the money, but my business model can, $1 per $1, but refund you on maybe on the long scale, but whatever. That's part of my business plan, but it doesn't have to be mandatory for anyone.
Awesome. Okay, I totally understand. Let's give some floor to someone else.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Goodbye, everyone. 4 a.m. here in Thailand.
Hello.
Hi, Peyton.
Hello. I just had two real quick things. So I was curious on the direction that you guys are going with the Project Catalyst website. You said don't feed the trolls earlier. Are you guys going to go towards curating some of the comments and curating some of the ideas if they are just trolls, or are you guys going to be completely hands off with that?
I don't know yet. I think the first step was just bringing the subject here, bringing awareness, and and seeing how the community is handling it. I think that starting with just, like, again, it's part of the experiment, like saying, like, what if we just ignore? What if what if we don't spend energy? Like, let them spend energy,
Yeah, and it might be better that way, and I like the idea of just telling people to ignore it.
Joke as much as they want. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
We are more strong and formidable than that, and that's like a very low. It's like a very common attack. It's just about us, like, learning, just like managing ourselves. And that's like very much easier than to start to set up like complicated moderation systems and stuff. But I'm pretty open to see how things evolve and whatever is necessary to, our commitment is to create a safe environment. So, that's like the high directive for me.
Okay. Yeah. So as this scales, say there's 1,000 proposals and there's only a week phase, like at least to submit the ideas. How do you plan on giving all of those ideas some light? Are you going to recommend people to do some marketing on other platforms, or should it stay strictly to idea scale?
I would say let's be open and let things evolve and emerge. I think that it's like, I don't know, like I don't know if you saw the presidential debate yesterday, but
Yeah, I did.
But this is an example of, this is not the best example, but like here is an example of, there's like a format that lets people like speak their minds. And, I think this format is not working anymore, but that's a different question. But, we might develop it. And I'm curious to see what kind of bottom-up ideas we're going to get about how we're going to get people more platform and ability to advertise. It's almost like in general elections, I don't know, like in Israel, like where I was born, like, we had all these like, election videos, like in the US, like I think people like can buy it with money, but in Israel, like you gave funding for some commercial time and just to give a stage to diversity of opinion. So, it could be cool to think about interesting formats, interesting time-efficient formats for people to pitch. But besides that, I really think it's best to, at this stage, especially, like avoid campaigning, avoid marketing. Find a small group of people who really believe in your proposal. Like make a solid proposal, have a good team, make it feasible. Then will come the assessment stage. People will give you a high score. Then you'll start to see the things shine. Like the higher quality proposals are gonna shine, I think, around the assessment stage, and I think around the finalization stage, once people get to process and talk more about it. We shall see.
Yeah, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for your time.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Sam.
Hello. So I'm a proposer named Sam, yep. And I just wanted to say that, I think to all proposers, we should really be trying to be focused and have this lens of staying focused on the challenge question and focused on the KPIs and what's measurable. I think a lot of people are excited about the ideas that they have, and that's incredible, and that's what this is for. But there are a lot of proposals out there, and I think it's just important to really think about how does this directly impact the challenge question. Like personally, I had another idea for a different proposal, but I realized it wasn't going, like it was just an idea that I had, but it didn't really directly affect the challenge question. So I decided I wasn't going to make a proposal for that. I decided to go a different route because it's something that actually directly answers the challenge question. I think that's just something important for all proposers to keep in mind, is just, I think you've talked about how the challenge question is something that can change over time and something that will be eventually voted on, and the community can, come up with different challenge questions, etc. So, there'll be time in the future for, your whatever idea it is to come up. But if it doesn't relate to this fund cycles, question, maybe save it for later. So that's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, I want to riff off of this just a bit, because I feel like, we talked about this, like return on intention. Okay, like what's the intention of the community, the challenge, So this intention is like a sharp knife. We can go and do very surgical things, and we can achieve a lot of things if we are coordinated and focused and drive something that's like, leverage something that's like the right leverage point. Or you can throw mud at walls in many directions, but then you lose. You don't have a knife anymore, and you lose for the next funds, and you set up a bad norm where kind of like everything goes, and then the community loses its most important tool, the ability to signal a challenge. So I mean, obviously, this time around it was kind of a top-down challenge. But that's like, that's a training wheel. In Fund 3, we're going to lose the training wheels, and we're going to define our own challenges. But I think establishing this norm is probably one of the most important things we can do in Fund 2.
Totally agree. Thank you.
Okay, let's Anna, I don't know what time is it in your local time, but I also want to be considerate of you. So let's put 4 more minutes, last questions, and then we can wrap up for today. Questions or comments? But I see that the 2 people who raised their hands already spoke. Like if there's someone who haven't spoken so far, wants to take this opportunity, let's have one last person that didn't speak yet.
Yeah, g'day. I just sort of wanted to throw some feedback out there as from a commenting perspective. There's a bit of a trend I've noticed that a lot of proposers will put some really high quality replies in the comments themselves, but then not go and edit their proposals, particularly when they're teasing out really useful information that is causing a lot of questions. So I think if you're getting traction with people and they're commenting on your proposal, that's actually a really good sign. So probably just leverage that as an opportunity to iterate the proposal instead of feeling like you're defending the proposal. But I think you've kind of mentioned that, Dor, but certainly from my perspective, it's a vibe I get in a lot of proposals. But thank you. And there's a lot of great stuff out there. Thank you.
There is. Thanks.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Dor. Hello, everybody. Jean speaking. I just wanted to ask, because I subscribe to, when I joined Catalyst at Fund 1, I was proposed to be either an entrepreneur or a reviewer. And I decided, okay, I will contribute as a reviewer. But actually, okay, it was the first stage, but we had quite few work as a reviewer, because you're not allowed to propose anything. According to what I understood, you can participate in the project. And actually, I just got two project reviews that were, one was very average, and I still gave the feedback, but it was not so as entertaining as I wanted, because actually I was expecting to invest more time in reviewing. So to be just able to review 2 projects that were not so interesting, where there was a better proposal, was a big restriction for me, considering the investment I wanted to provide. So I have 2 questions. First, will it be in the future as restricted, which means that as a reviewer, will I receive only a list of a fixed list of projects that I can review, and that is maybe determined maybe randomly or by someone from your team? Or will it be more open in a way, if I want to burn one evening or whatever and review 6 or 7 projects, will I be able to do so? Is the first question. And the second question would be, because I wanted really to be involved, and actually I think that I'm myself an entrepreneur. I have many companies, I do a lot of things. So I'm thinking maybe I would like maybe to switch back to entrepreneur if there is not enough activity on the reviewing side. And I wanted to know if how should I proceed, because it looks like all the funds are constantly starting over, and I don't know how to inside ID scale. I don't know how to drop my role and change my role. So that was my two questions.
Okay, so yeah, for Fund 2, it's like a reset. You know, you're like you know, if you volunteer to be a community advisor, it's only takes for the fund you volunteer to. Like, so you did it
so
for
each time you have to review. Each time you have to renew. You have to.
Yeah. So if you did it for Fund 1, it's like yeah, you can propose for Fund 1, but for Fund 2, you know, you have you can submit an idea and become a proposer. No worries. So every time you can switch between the roles as you wish. And I think you had the second question, and I think
The first question was will the amount of projects be fixed and predetermined, or can we and the amount, can I change it? Can I spend more time, or how flexible will it be?
Yeah, we're still reflecting and figuring it out, especially because Fund 1 the review stage really sucked, and we now need to make a better version of it. I would say, I think right now the default, I mean tomorrow, next week I will give you a lot of details, and we'll probably open the registration for community advisors. But I think currently at least the default thing, unless we figure out a better idea, is kind of creating cohorts of proposals and cohorts of reviewers. So there'll be like, let's say like 50 reviewers will have like a bank of like 50 proposals that will be basically like randomly assigned to them. So you will have like a lot of choice, and then you can like kind of freely choose which of these 50, like which ones you are more interested to review. So that's like the default. But I mean, I think we still have a bit of reflection about what's the next experiment in the review process we want to do. I hope that helps. Probably they'll have more diversity and this time.
Okay, that helps. Thank you anyway for everything. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. It's been a long day, lots of announcements. See you all next week.